In this video, we're going to be working on the Dodge Ram 1500, not the Hellcat swap Ram 1500 that I have behind me, but in order to work on our SST, our second gen Ram 1500, I know there's a lot of Ram 1500 going on here, we have to work on this one, and I'll explain why. So let me spin this around. So on the last video, we installed the rear brakes, the rear axle, got our 392 gear set in there with a limited slip, but I promised you guys we were going to be upgrading the rear brakes because the rotors were done, the pads were done, but I figured rather than putting on some ridiculous brakes on our SST, I'm going to upgrade these brakes because you'll notice in the front here, I've got the power stop rotors, these coated rotors that don't rust. I've got the drilled and slotted ones in the front, but on the rear over here, I just have the stock ones. This truck is really low miles. These ones are in perfect shape, and I already have the power stop carbon fiber pads on the rear, but I'm gonna take these rotors off since there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. We're gonna upgrade these rotors to the drilled and slotted and take these over to our SST because they'll be a better fit for this, since the front brakes we haven't done anything with, and they are pretty sorry looking, but these rears we need to upgrade. So here you go, there's the current rears. These ones are absolutely pooched, so we're gonna upgrade the Hellcat Ram brakes so that we can upgrade these ones. So it sounds a little bit confusing, but let's get to work and it'll make sense in a minute. Okay, so this is what I mean, you guys. So I've got our rotors off and our pads off, and I replaced these pads and they are still like 90% pad left. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. And they're the upgraded power stop carbon fiber pads. So this will give our SST some nice bite, and these rotors, again, they're perfectly fine, no issues. So rather than just buying some basic rotors for this, I'm essentially upgrading this while moving perfectly good parts over to that. So that's what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead, we'll put on our new drilled and slotted rotors on here, and then we'll put brand new pads on here, put this all back together, and same with the other side. All right, and just like that, we've got new pads, new rotors, everything's good, tight, clean, all that. So put this back down, throw our wheels on, and then we can get back to the SST. All right, so we got this thing out here chopping away. I was actually going to pull it in and start working on the brakes, but I think what I should do is pull it back up here, pop the rear wheels off it, maybe jack it up. I kind of want to pressure wash all the just crap on the rear axle. That way we can kind of give it some paint, because I still haven't painted it yet. And I'd like to do that so that we can kind of finalize it. We'll paint the rear calipers and stuff so that we can get it all looking nice with the new rotors, new pads, all that stuff. So let me pull it forward actually, and let's get that done. All right. Getting too used to sitting on the floor. Hey, let's go. All right. Pop it in a drive, and we'll chop away forward here. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's turn this off. Okay, so I'm gonna jack the back up, pop the wheels, and then that way I can kind of get in there with the pressure washer somewhat. And we'll just degrease everything before we try to put a little bit of paint on that. All right, there we go, you guys. So everything is super clean. It's literally, that's what I used, the degreaser, super clean, and degreased everything. So now I'm gonna go ahead, we'll pull it in, and we can put it up on the lift, and we can start painting it. Normally I wouldn't paint anything, but I'll just move the Dakota out of there. There won't be anything in there. I don't typically paint in there, but I don't really feel like laying on my back painting this either. So we'll put it up on the lift. We'll just try to mask some stuff off, and we'll just dust this axle. I think I only need the spots where I welded, like here, maybe a little bit around the carrier to freshen it up, but and I also want to paint these calipers before we put the new rotors on, so let's get that done. Okay, she's up on the lift, wheels are off. Let's go ahead and dust these black. I can kind of worry about that stuff later, but dust these black, and then we'll pop all this old junk off and put on the new ones. All right, that worked out beautifully. And like I said, since we're replacing the rotors, I don't have to worry about that. Replacing the pads, don't have to worry about that. Replacing the clips, don't have to worry about that. And we're also painting back here, so worked out great. Let's go ahead, let this dry for a couple minutes, and we'll pop it off, put on our new rotors, put on our new pads, and then we'll have something half decent looking here. You guys, check out how good those calipers came out. So, got the new rotors on there, we got new brake pads, and our calipers are on there. What I'm messing with now is when we put the 8-speed in here, we adjusted the angle of our drivetrain a little bit. So what I have to do is just adjust my exhaust where it meets the V-band here, since there's no flex pipe. So I'm actually going to cut it here and kind of just tilt it a little bit, and then re-TIG weld it. So got the Sawzall out, I'm just gonna cut it, I'll TIG it, and that way I can move this so that the angle and approach is better on our V-band, so it seals up better. Okay, so there we go. We just cut a slit there. It's still all attached, but that way I can kind of just move it forward, and then we'll re-weld that. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna throw it up, double check it, and kind of get it to where I want, and then I can tack it in place, take it off, weld it fully. Okay, so we reinstalled it. As you can see, it kind of opens up as it goes up. Nothing crazy, but just enough that kind of got maybe just over 1/8 of an inch at the top. So, and then at the bottom we're still attached. So just tipped it in so that this closes a little bit nicer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a few tacks on both sides. So you can see there maybe a little better the pie shape. And make a few tacks just so I can hold in place, and I'll take it down, weld it up solid, probably continue the bead down here just so it all looks uniform. And then we'll have that adjusted. All right, so we got it all welded up, you guys. So now we won't have any exhaust leaks right here. And the other thing too is our wideband O2 sensors right here. So don't want any leaks right here, because if it does a little bit of scavenging and pulls back in some fresh air, then it's gonna throw this reading off like crazy. Also waiting on a couple more parts from Holley. They shipped out some Earls fittings. So we're gonna run our transmission lines at some point here too. But I have some of the fittings so we can start to get that provisioned, and that way we can run our transmission cooler, because if you guys remember, we looped it. But let's go ahead and we can probably put this down and we can see how she runs. One other thing I want to mention too is at some point you guys got to start tagging either Lincoln or Miller for me, because we are doing a lot of welding, it seems, and trying to get by with these obviously no-name welders. It works, but I think we can do better, and I think we can make some better welds if I have better equipment. So help out your boy here. Start tagging them on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you can find them, because I think it would be better if we got some better equipment. But can't complain, she's getting the job done. But yeah, nicer equipment would be a lot better. Okay, it is the next day, and in my hand I have this Duplicolor vinyl and fabric paint. So we're gonna grab the carpet, spray some of this on, and we'll check out the color before we fully paint it. I wanna get an early start on the day so we can get a few coats on it so that the carpet can be done. So let's get started on that. All right, so we got the carpet here. You guys remember we cleaned it, we washed it, and now it's dry. Right back here, this line here, this faded line, this is where that back cargo section goes. So I'm gonna do a bit of testing over here, just make sure if this color, which the cap looks pretty decent, make sure that it's going along with the theme and the same color, because over here you can see how faded it is in the sections that got a lot of sun. So we'll test over here since it's concealed, and then if we like what we got over here, then we'll start doing the rest. Well, that was easy enough. So I just did a little dusting right there, and you can see it's definitely the tan color we need. We'll restore that color back into the carpet, and we'll keep going. So I'm just gonna keep going, dusting it all along, and then I kind of have to level it out so that I can get in there on these pieces. But yeah, definitely super faded here, and we'll dust in the original color. All right, so this is coming out awesome, you guys. I ended up taping this up just because this plastic portion here, or rubber mat that's in it, it was perfectly fine. It didn't really need to be painted, and it would just left it open or more prone to being, you know, whatever this color scuffing off of our rubber. So here is the difference, you guys. I didn't paint just this in these couple sections here. I dusted in this section, but you can see here just the difference. So it is coming out awesome, and this is only one coat. One thing with this stuff is I've done it before. I used black on the Hellcoda when we had the black carpet stuff. It leaves the carpet a little bit crunchy, but once you kind of dust it a little bit and move it around, and you kind of get the fabric in there, like it's already dry. You can see it's not coming out from my hand, but kind of just move it around, and then it regains its softness. So it's kind of a little bit crunchy at first touch, but as soon as you move it around, then it's fine again. So let me get the rest of this carpet dialed in, as you can see there. So I'll do all this, and then I'll probably move it around a little bit, give it another coat or two, and we'll see how she looks. All right, so I'm super happy with the way this is coming out. This is only about 2 coats, so I might put one more on it, but I'm just letting it dry out here in the sun. You guys will notice it does go a much nicer tan. When you first lay it down, it kind of has this kind of a cream beige color, but then it settles into this tan color. So anyways, let me show you guys what I'm doing now. So rather than having to pull everything out every time, I got the 2 vehicles covered up, as well as the mystery vehicle that nobody still has guessed or really commented on YouTube. You guys have commented a lot on Instagram, but nobody's really said anything on YouTube so far. But after we finish that, we'll get to this one here. So I popped off the back panel because this is carpet as well, and I figured it's all got to match, and this one's faded just as much as the other ones. So there is these little hooks. I don't know why they give you so many of these, but I guess to strap things to the back panel, and they're held on by Phillips screws on the back here. So, or actually Torx screws. So I'm gonna just blast all those off, just pull this sound deadening back a little bit, enough so that I can get all these off. There's 8 of them, it looks like. So we'll get all those off, and then we can paint this back panel too. All right, so I actually need to get more paint for our carpet stuff. So in the meantime, I want to keep working on stuff. So I'm gonna lift this up a little bit. Let's start dusting our axle so that I don't have to worry about that. That'll be all painted, and then I can put the wheels on, and probably don't have to take them off for a while. All right, well, just a little dusting and she looks 1,000 times better, you guys. So that's all done. Let's go ahead, throw the wheels on, put this thing down, see what we want to do next. Okay, next up, we've got this transmission brace from Holley. So this goes between our Gen 3 Hemi and our transmission. It fits for all sorts of transmissions, you guys, so the whole list is here. I'll link this down below if you guys are interested, but it comes with our brace and it also comes with our hardware. So we've got our bolts, we've got our brace, and this goes right here. So this will go in here, it'll go around our oil pan, and it just gives added support. So definitely want to do this so that you have all the added support with your transmission to the engine. Let's get it on. All right, so check it out. We got that Holley structural support in there. So that's all done. Let's move on to the next. Okay, so next little project is going to be our transmission cooler lines. So I'm gonna plumb it into the factory setup, which is right here. So there's 2 ports here on our factory radiator. So we got these, but in order to find the fittings, I had to kind of go through the old lines that were from the truck. And then I actually had to order one. And what I did was I just cut the actual hard line off it, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this hard line. It's gonna go to the fitting. I'm gonna flare it. And on the other side, we've got these Earls fittings, and these go to a hard tube. So this will fit right over top. As you can see, this sleeve is gonna fit right over top. We're gonna tighten it down and it's gonna make our seal. So pretty cool stuff. It's gonna transition it to a -6 and then we can run our lines. So I'm just going from the factory hard lines to a -6, and this is the way I'm getting there. And if you guys wanna do something like that, I am using just a flare kit. So I'll link this down in the description below where you can get this off Amazon. I'm pretty sure is where I got this one. So I'll link the same kit that I got, and you can do the exact same thing you're seeing here. I'll also link these Earls fittings if you want as well. All right, so check it out. There we go. We've got our adapted fitting here. I just completed this one the way I wanted it to. And then here we go with the other one. We've got our factory fitting with the hard line with the Earls fitting. Let's go ahead and assemble it, and then we'll have that done. All right, so I managed to get the fitting on here, but I didn't realize I don't know if you probably can't see with this camera, but they look like they're almost like corroded in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and order a new fitting, but we'll put it on the same sort of assembly here. But once that shows up, I'll show you guys. Okay, what I'm messing with right now is I actually had a catch can, so I just threw it in there. You guys didn't really miss anything. It's 1 bolt and 2 lines. So threw your catch can on there. And what I'm doing right now is building a temporary intake. And I say temporary for a few reasons. So ideally, this would not be the intake manifold I would suggest for this setup, because where you see the throttle body here and where the hood line is, I don't know if you guys can see that, but the intake, you don't really have much to work with as far as the elbow. I am getting this to work and I can still close the hood, but it's gonna be seriously close to right there. So we are gonna be putting a 6.4 intake manifold. I actually have it on the shelf over there. We're gonna be putting that on, but I wanna at least show you guys the gains, hopefully, between the two. So I wanna at least get something fabbed up, so just super temporarily, so we can at least run it. So I came up with this. Again, it's super temporary. It's got a little velocity sack over here. Might throw a filter on it for now, but I'm just gonna throw some clamps on it. Also, I'm gonna get my intake air temperature sensor in here as well. That way we can get a little bit more accurate reading, because I kind of just had it chilling over there. So it's not a mass airflow sensor, so it's not going to lose its mind. Just your intake air temperature. So get that in there. We'll get some clamps on this, and like I said, super temporary, but at least we got something just chilling over here, and we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, so there we go, guys. Like I said, temporary intake, but at least we've got something. So we are just knocking out lots of little tasks. I also have to order a coolant overflow tank, because I want to just keep something nice and clean and sleek. So probably try to mount something in and around here. I just got to figure out what I want to do, but something here, and it'll just go to our overflow right there. Okay guys, it is the next day and my coolant overflow tank showed up. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to find a spot to mount it over here. That way we have that situated, and there's our makeshift intake for now. But yeah, just trying to get the idle sorted out a little bit and get it running a little bit better. I did also receive notification that our seat covers are going to be shipped out this week as well. So we're just motoring along here. All right guys, so we've got it running here. I'll show you guys the overflow can. Came up pretty good. But just getting a little bit more familiar with the Holley system, but the sky is about to break out. So I'm just gonna pull this thing forward, but you guys might as well come along for a little ride with me. All right, in we go. All right, so I figured I might as well install the door panel. The reason why I took it off before was because the window had fallen off the track, and I already repaired that in a previous video. So I put this back on, and one thing I'm trying to figure out on the other side, so I'm just about to take that off, or in the process of taking off, is when you lock the door, this one goes down and up, but that one does not. So I'm gonna pop that off, see if I can figure out what's going on. Figured I might as well since I'm kind of messing with stuff, and we'll just see what we can get done. Okay, you would think that the door would come off fairly easy, but this style, the older ones, it has all these like Christmas tree clips in here. And you would think that since the rest of the plastic on the whole truck is brittle, these things are like holding on for dear life. So they're like popping out of the back, which is fine. It's not wrecking anything. We just have to pop these out of here. I had to do it for the other side, and these things are on here like you would not believe. So like I said, this is not going up or down. I can hear it locking, and it physically locks, but it's not getting any of this action. So let me get access into here and see what's going on. Well, I ended up pulling the lock mechanism, so I'm gonna take it apart and see if I can figure out what's going on. It's just it's not latching, little solenoid, so we'll see what's going on when we open it up. All right, well, it's the next day, you guys. I just have that door panel chilling there, and I actually have the new door lock showing up today, so I'm just gonna leave that for now. But while that shows up, I'm gonna keep messing with some other stuff. So as you guys know, we moved our climate control from this location to here. Reason being is it just made sense to have our 8-speed selector that we have here. It made sense to have it near the steering wheel, like right here. Same, you know, you have the same reach here from the original column shift, and it just made sense there. So moving our climate here, so we're gonna lay it down sideways. I'm gonna reprint the actual sticker that goes on the front, so I'll deal with that later, but for now I just want to get it mounted here. Everything swings over here nicely, so I'll be able to do that. I almost got lucky and was able to use a Jeep one because it already sits flat like that, but the problem is the heater control, as you can see here, is electric, whereas the heater control on this is cable. So maybe if I had more time I could probably convert this to electric, but I really don't feel like doing all that right now. So what I'm going to do is, this is a aftermarket stereo bracket that goes here. So this gives me my depth and my offset that I need for the actual trim. So I am going to take this as my template. I've got another sheet of this ABS plastic here, and essentially what I'm gonna do is cut this out with the tabs so that I can mount my other HVAC unit to it. So hopefully that all makes sense, because originally the radio went there. And I know the next question you guys are gonna ask is, where's the radio gonna go? Probably gonna get one of those units that goes behind the dash and then just has a tiny little faceplate. So it's just like a little tiny faceplate. There's a lot of like, you know, side-by-sides and stuff like that use it. So probably do something like that, but I'm not even worried about a stereo right now. I'm gonna keep the original cup holder location there. I was thinking maybe I could almost fit a single din here, but it's with this shape right here, it's not gonna work. And then the little ashtray thing goes here, so I'm probably gonna use a little ashtray area later, but for now, as long as I have my shifter, my climate control, I'll deal with music later. So let me get to work. I'm gonna start cutting this, shaping it, bending it, doing all that fun stuff, and then we'll get a bracket for our climate control. All right, so I don't know if you guys can see that, but I've got my template there. So I got the 2 ears, the 2 tabs, and then the square. So let's go ahead, cut this thing out, and get ready. All right, just like that, we've got this cut out of this. So now I'm gonna smooth out my edges, and then I'm gonna bend these, because these are the 2 bolting tabs. Crazy enough, there's only 2 screws where that factory radio went. So I just gotta bend these, just a couple 90s, and then I should have my bracket. Alright, we got our other 90. Okay guys, so our panel works, and like I said, it's just got these 2 mounting screws here. So it's a little bit flimsy, but then once we attach the unit to the back of it, it'll give it the added strength. So I'm trying to decide if I should just drill 3 holes in this and shove that in there, or if I should try to do some sort of square, but then you're gonna see a square inside a square. So let me decide what I want to do here. Either one's going to accomplish the same goal. And if you're wondering why it looks like this, like I said, I'm going to print a sticker over top of this. So that's why I use the smooth side on this instead of the textured, because I'm going to print a sticker that has all the appropriate positions here with it laying down. All right, so what I did, I don't know if you guys can see, but I essentially just traced out what it looks like with our bezel on here. And I have to essentially put this behind. I was thinking of just deleting this faceplate off of it, but you can see here it's got the limit stops in it for each switch. So we have to use this piece of plastic, unfortunately. Otherwise, it would have been way easier to just boop, 3 holes right through and we would be off to the races. So what I'm going to do is cut this out. I'm trying to decide where I want my limits to be. And then afterwards, essentially, we will just epoxy the edge of this to the back of that. And then we can reprint this thing, but it's gonna be like that. So let me keep messing with it. We're almost there, boys, I promise. Holy moly, that was a lot of work, you guys, but we got her dialed in, so now we just can print the sticker on it later, but at least our faceplate is on. Everything turns. Hey, that's a lot of work. I'm not even kidding you guys. A lot of time went into making this. All right, guys, so I've got this thing just all epoxy together. I got it curing. This thing came out awesome, so super happy with that. And then while that's drying, I cleaned up our cowl for our windshield, so I'm gonna throw that on in just a second. Another thing too is I painted this backboard and the carpet, as you guys know, but it kind of was a little bit orangey. So what I did was I ordered a different can, and I ordered this one here. This is a little bit more in line with the color. Hopefully the fan isn't too loud on camera, but I'll show you guys what I mean. So see how it's kind of orangey here? I ended up finding this stuff here, which is more of the beige that it needs to be. So I barely put on one coat and there's still some orangey spots, but I ordered a few more cans so that I can completely do this in the proper tan, just so it doesn't have that orangey color and it'll be more in line with what it needs to be. All right, so we got that fresh cowl on there. We've got our door lock, so let's go ahead, plug it in before we install it and see what she does. Okay, so one more time, here's the lock with the old one. Makes noise, but that doesn't move. Here's the new one. There you go. That's the action we're looking for. So let's go ahead and put that thing in. All right, another thing done and out of the way, you guys. So now, lock goes up. Everything closes nice. Like, look how, this is crazy, watch this. It's like the nicest closing doors ever. So locked, if we unlock it, lock pops up. These things close like better than new. It's crazy. Anyways, that's done. I think our epoxy should be done drying on our climate control, so let's try installing that. Okay, check out the finished product, you guys. So pretty happy with how this came out. Again, we are going to be printing a sticker that's going to go over top of this whole faceplate and show all of our indications, but for now we can put our climate control in there. All right, guys, so check this out. I am super happy with the results. I didn't fully push in my bezel because I don't want to push it all the way in since it's super brittle. So I'm trying to not have to clip this in and out as much as possible because I do not want it to break. And it is nearly impossible to find a wood grain one that matches the wood grain on the doors. But there she is. So again, I know there's gonna be somebody that's still gonna comment, so I'm gonna continue to mention this, but I am going to be printing a sticker at some point to get this to all show all the different knobs, but everything works. The knobs still light up and everything, and then we'll print out all the positions. So pretty happy with that. And if you're wondering, like I said, why I kept the texture here and then went smooth, the reason why I flipped the ABS this way is so that I have a smooth surface to mount the sticker to, whereas this one, we're gonna leave it this textured look here. So overall, super happy with how it's turning out. So I still don't have the seat covers back yet. Also, I'm waiting on more paint for our carpet so that I can finish that. So we accomplished a lot in this episode, and I want to get this video out for you guys this week. That way you guys are up to date and you guys know what's going on. Just a matter of parts getting shipped and arriving, and I'm still dialing in the tune a little bit so we can actually drive it. Plus I need a seat to sit on. So once we get all that, then we'll be able to test this thing out. We are super close, you guys. Very, very close. Also, in case you didn't know, let me leave you guys with two things before we wrap up this video. If you guys want to do this to your truck, I do sell the engine mounts to do the exact same swap. So if you want to put a Hemi in your second gen Ram, I sell the engine mounts with the instructions on how you can get one of these in here. Also, this truck right here behind me, this truck is for sale, you guys. I cannot tell you how many hours I've put into this truck. I have honestly put probably more hours than I have into the Hellcat, and there's probably about as many hours, if not more, that are into the Hellcat swap Ram. So this truck, you guys, is a complete frame off restoration. We've taken the cab off, we've taken the bed off, painted the whole frame, and started from scratch. So if you guys are interested in this truck, I am giving it away for stupid cheap. I don't even know why, because of the amount of hours I have into it. But if you guys want it, as I add more features, the price is gonna go up. But if you want it, you can take it for 30. So if you guys wanna take this truck, it's gonna be a fully built truck, 8-speed automatic. It has 1320 drag pack software in the transmission as well. So you can have factory trans brake, track mode, all that crazy stuff is in this truck. And you're getting a 5.7 that's fully cammed and a bunch of bolt-ons. So if you guys want this truck, it's gonna be available at Mo Party. If you guys wanna come to Mo Party, you guys can drive it home from Mo Party, take it, it'll be yours. But this truck is gonna be for sale, probably gonna be gone within the next month, if not sooner. But the first person to leave a deposit can take this truck, you guys. Plus, while I'm finishing it, if there's some things that you want me to do a certain way, if you leave a deposit, we can go a certain direction on this truck. So just letting you guys know that. And if you're interested, hit me up, don't hesitate, because I guarantee you this will not sit around for long. I already have a buddy that's actually probably gonna leave me a deposit. So if you guys are interested, get on it. So anyways, if you guys are liking this content, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Catch you guys on the next one.